All right, in the last video, we introduced the idea of opportunity cost and a systematic way of talking about opportunity cost, what we called the production possibility frontier. What we're going to do in this video is talk about not just one farmer in isolation, Molly. We're going to introduce a second character, Andrew, who also has a plot of land that he grows carrots and spinach on. And these two farms are right next to each other. This will add another layer of complexity, but it will also allow us to see some of the fundamental insights that economics deals with. Okay, so we have two farmers, and you'll remember from the past two videos that Molly grows five units of carrots if she's growing only carrots, and 45 units of spinach if she's growing only spinach. And for Andrew's new to the scene. He can't grow as much carrots on his land, and he also can't grow as much spinach on his land. So we have 18 units of spinach and 4 units of carrots. Okay, so this is what we call a production table. We have these two farmers, we have two crops, and this tells us how much each can grow of each crop. Okay, we're going to introduce a new tool for us, what we call an opportunity cost table. And this is really where we start to uncover the deep insight in the 1800s by a guy named David Ricardo. And this is really where economics begins. All right, so what we're going to do is first fill out the opportunity cost table. So in previous videos, we walked through how to find the opportunity cost of both of these crops. So we set Molly's ability to grow carrots equal to her ability to grow spinach. This simply tells us she can either grow carrots, and if she grows all carrots, she can grow 5 units of carrots, or, and this equal sign represents the or relationship, she can grow 45 units of spinach. We set these equal to each other, we divide both sides by 5, and then we simplify. So this tells us that Molly gives up 9 units of spinach for every unit of carrots she grows. And then to find the opportunity cost for a unit of spinach for her, we simply take the inverse. So 1 unit of spinach requires Molly to give up 1/9 units of carrots. So we can fill this in here. All right. And as an exercise, I would have you go through and solve the same relationship for Andrew. So we're going to find the opportunity costs for each crop for Andrew. And these are his opportunity costs. So for every unit of carrots Andrew grows, he gives up 9/2 units of spinach. And for every unit of spinach he grows, he gives up 2/9 units of carrots. All right. So we're going to use two definitions here to give us some additional leverage on sort of thinking about this system. The first definition is what we call absolute advantage, which is having a higher productive capacity. You're more able to produce a given good. All right, so let's check and see who has the absolute advantage in growing carrots. Well, we can see Molly does. She's better able to grow carrots than Andrew is. And when we look at spinach, Molly also has the absolute advantage in growing spinach. She can grow 45, where Andrew can only grow 18. All right, but we have the second definition, and this is really where thinking about opportunity cost gives us some deeper insight into what's happening in our world. Comparative advantage is simply having a lower opportunity cost. This fundamental measure of a trade-off If you have a lower opportunity cost, you have the comparative advantage. And we're going to use this to tell us something pretty profound about our world. All right, so we have comparative advantage. And it turns out if we're looking at spinach, Molly has the comparative advantage here. She's better able, she gives up fewer units of carrots to grow spinach than Andrew does. Molly gives up 1/9 units of carrots for every unit of spinach she decides to make, where Andrew has double that. So we say Molly has the comparative advantage in growing carrots, or excuse me, in growing spinach. All right, and a little trick here. Because these numbers are calculated using the inverse, where we take, so we see 9 units of spinach and 1/9, and 9 over 2, and 2/9. It's just a mathematical proof that Andrew will have the comparative advantage in growing carrots. And we can also see this here just from the numbers. Molly gives up 9 units of spinach for every unit of carrots she decides to grow. She has to give up that space on her land that she would have devoted to growing spinach, where Andrew gives up 9/2 units of spinach. So Andrew gives up less spinach for every unit of carrots he decides to grow. So we say Andrew has the comparative advantage in growing spinach. Okay, so this is all fine and dandy, but what we can do to really visualize what's happening here is to go back to our production possibility frontiers. And we can plot both Molly's production possibility frontier and Andrew's. So we can see Molly, her production possibility frontier represented in blue here. If she splits her farm evenly between carrots and spinach, she picks this point halfway between the two axes. And we can do the same thing for Andrew. So what I've done here too is list out the opportunity costs. So we have 1 carrot is equal to some units of spinach for Andrew, which in this case is 9/2, or 4.5. And for Molly, it's 1 unit of carrots. She gives up 9 units of spinach. All right, then we have this next idea. We're going to use this for a little bit. We're not going to come back to this in later parts, but we're going to use this idea of a guild, where we're sort of merging both farms together, and we're saying they're both going to pick the same ratios. So here, Molly is splitting the farm half for carrots and half for spinach. What we're saying with the guild, sort of a super farm, is that Andrew is going to make the same decision. He's going to split the farm equally between carrots and spinach. And we're just going to say both farms are going to choose exactly the same splits. All right, so we have Andrew's split here, 50-50. We have Molly's split here, 50-50. All we have to do is add up both of their carrots and spinach, and that gives us this guild PPF point. We're just adding this point to this point. The vertical, we just tack that on here, and then the horizontal, we can see we go, I don't have the numbers listed, but just visually you can see we add the horizontal to this point. So we move out here, and that gives us this new guild PPF point when the guild is splitting their land half and half. So that's the requirement. The guild is a super farm where they're splitting their land in the same ways. All right, so it doesn't have to be half and half. We could say, if they produce all carrots or all spinach down here, we simply add up Andrew's 18 with Molly's 45, and that gives us 63? And on the vertical axis, we have, if they both produce only carrots, then we have 4 plus Molly's 5 gives us a total of 9. So that's what this line is representing. Both farmers are making the same crop splits on their farms. Okay, but Molly, being the clever farmer she is, and, has taken some economics in college, she realizes maybe there's something to the idea of opportunity cost. So we're going to list out Molly's comparative advantage, which is spinach, and Andrew's comparative advantage, growing carrots. And Molly, thinking about costs, she says, what if we try to minimize our opportunity cost? So on this graph, we're going to list out these 2 points representing for Molly, if she only grows spinach, she's choosing to specialize in the thing she has the comparative advantage in. So this is her specialization point, growing only spinach. And this is Andrew's specialization point, growing only carrots. These are the points where both farmers minimize their opportunity costs. But according to the guild, we can't make different crop choices. So Molly says, what if we actually do? What if we decide to break the guild and allow us to make different crop choices? So let's first say both farmers choose to do the thing they have the higher opportunity cost in. That looks like this. We have a higher opportunity cost. Molly can produce 5 units of carrots, so we have 5 on the vertical. And then Andrew can produce 18 units of spinach. So we have, in total, we have 5 units of carrots and 18 units of spinach. And it turns out this point, the combination of the 2 farmers doing the thing that they do not have a comparative advantage in, it maximizes our costs and it brings down what we can produce in total. And what I'm going to show you next is the true magic of thinking about opportunity cost and specialization. This is one of the fundamental insights in our field. When we choose to grow the things that we're particularly good at, we minimize our opportunity cost. And it makes us capable of producing at a point outside of the guild PPF. And remember, the guild PPF is telling us that we do everything exactly the same between the 2 farms. But as soon as we make better choices that minimize our opportunity cost, we can actually exceed that frontier. And the way we find this point is to look at how many units of carrots Andrew grows, 4. That's our vertical axis. And then how many units of spinach Molly grows, following this specialization. All right. So it's maybe a good idea to step back and think about what we just did. Without changing how much input labor, neither farmer is working more. And without changing how much technology, what level of technology we're using, neither farmer has improved their technology. Without changing either of those factors, simply making better choices, we've been able to exceed our frontier. Making better choices in ways that minimize our opportunity cost allow us to achieve something we couldn't before. All right, and then we can go through and plot out all of the possible points where both farmers are specializing in one of the goods, or at least one farmer is specializing in what they have the comparative advantage in. This region that we've just mapped out, these are the gains from specialization. These are all of the points on this XY graph that we could not have achieved before. So we've improved what's possible simply by making choices that minimize our opportunity cost. All right, so we're going to come back to this in the next video and ask some follow-on questions. We have a couple of pretty big questions remaining. A big one is, can we do this without needing to form a guild? And does this gain from specialization, does it benefit one farmer over another? Or can we actually improve both farmers simultaneously? So that's where we're going in the next video. I'll see you there.